Grab your rods and tackle box, folks, as we dive into the wild world of fishing. Get ready for some laughs, some fish stories, and a touch of chaos as we wade into the deep waters of fishing wisdom. Our guides on this trip are a know-it-all, a guy who desperately needs a haircut, and a man named Sam. In this podcast, this motley crew shares their knowledge, their latest fishing antics, and probably get into more trouble than they bargained for. It's a podcast as unpredictable as the sport of fishing. If you love fishing, then this is the place to be, because in this podcast, every catch is a big one. Every story is a keeper, and the only thing more legendary than the tales is the trio delivering them. Welcome to the Bait Tank.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Bait Tank. It is, I don't know what episode this is at this point. We've been doing this for a hot minute now. Hope you all are doing fantastic. My name is Anthony. Again, you're watching the Bait Tank, and joining me are Zach and Sam. Welcome in, gentlemen. Hope you all are doing fantastic as well. Let's talk fishing. Like always. Let's just do it. Talk fishing. Y'all, why aren't y'all talking? Do y'all not like fishing?
I'm trying not to laugh.
Hey, you know, we're talking this episode. We're talking about springtime bass fishing. That's kind of the hot topic right now. You know, some people are getting ready to do crappie fishing. You're getting ready to spawn, but bass are doing it also. We're gonna talk about specifically what they're doing this time of year, what to look for, what to expect. Obviously, if you're in certain parts of the country, this doesn't apply to you because you already passed it. I apologize for you folks down in Florida, but for all you guys, my direction up north of me, all the way up to where Sam's at, and even Canada, you know, these guys are just now starting to do their thing. And so we're talking about that, talk about the seasonal patterns, talk about where they're going, why they're going there, maybe some techniques to throw. And then on top of that, I do have a special guest going on tonight to talk about a very specific technique. And we will not spoil it if you haven't already read it. He will be here soon, and we will get him up here. So, Zach, Sam, springtime bass fishing. What are you guys thinking of when you hear that phrase?
That means I can start throwing topwater again.
That's fair. What about you, Sam?
Buzz baits. That's kind of my go-to. They're loud. They're annoying. You know.
Buzz bait over whopper plopper?
So whopper ploppers are kind of new up here. Like I saw my first whopper plopper last summer. Like in Michigan, like for sale. So,
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, so you guys are both specifically thinking topwater. Me, I'm thinking more like weightless stuff. I'm thinking wacky rigs. I'm thinking flukes, soft plastics. You know, I'm gonna cover some water, obviously. So yeah, maybe have something that moves, spinnerbait, buzzbait, chatterbait, all that good stuff. But for me, it's more about finding those bedding areas and just trying to annoy the snot out of them. Let's just be honest here. Try not to disturb the beds a lot, so don't use a lot of weight. Keep it weightless, and see what happens. For all you guys in chat, let's hear about you guys. What do you guys think? When you guys hear springtime bass fishing, what comes to mind? Put it in the chat. And while we're doing that, let's say some hello to some people over on Facebook. Go, that's me. My bad. I'm on Facebook. Hey, me. Tim's over here. Tim Wheaton. Hello. Burrito Catfish Lady. Hello. Let's see. 351 Cleveland. I missed you. There you are. Brandon. What's up? How are you? Sigo's out here as well. Let's see. Did I miss anybody? Mrs. Yak was in here as well. She's bowling tonight, so she's actually watching from the bowling alley. Welcome. Appreciate that very much. Random Fishing 26. And there is somebody you need to pay attention to that name. He will be up here later. So yeah, springtime bass fishing. So you guys know bass fishing in the winter. The fish went deep. They're following bait if they are doing anything. They may or may not be active, but typically speaking, they'll be running in deeper water, running the channels, going where the bait are basically because the bait's doing the same thing. The bait's not going to be shallow in the winter. It's going to be deeper. It's going to be suspended, following the oxygen, and trying to stay in the warmer water too. You don't deal with it so much here on the Tennessee River chains when it comes to thermocline, but you do deal with it in other places, and then that your bait's going to hover around there. But then when spring shifts, water starts warming up, you get these spring rains, oxygen levels change, the temperature in shallow water heats up. generally speaking, you're going to start seeing the bait fish move shallower, and then these bass are going to follow. Well, the order of which they follow and which direction they go is important and think about, because it's going to put you on more fish or put you in more high producing areas for these fish. And I don't want to take the whole show and talk about the whole thing. Zach, Sam, if you guys got something to chime in, you feel free to pop in on this if I'm saying something wrong or I'm missing something. But like I said, springtime fishing, you obviously the heart of it, spawn, weightless baits. That's my thing. But before that, they're chasing schools of shad. What are you guys throwing?
Smaller shad shaped swim baits.
Now, are we talking about Alabama rigs? For me, I like Alabama rigs. But are you talking about Alabama rigs? You talking about just single swim baits? I mean, what specifically?
Jointed swim baits mostly.
Jointed swim baits. So you actually talking like hard baits. You're not even talking plastics.
Yeah, I'm talking hard baits.
I got you. Glide baits.
Yeah. Which I mean, that's
like
mainly what I throw year round, anyways. Is glide. I mainly do glide baits, top water, stuff like that.
I got you. What about you, Sam? I know you said chatterbaits, but is that the only thing you're throwing?
Buzzbaits, not chatterbaits.
That's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah. Like I've never actually fished with chatterbaits before. I'm really excited to the second part of our show on that. Crankbaits are kind of like my go-to.
I got you.
Top water isn't going to the way that I like it. Trying to think here. I try not to go lipless because it's a little too heavy. And glide baits too, like segmented.
I got you.
Yeah.
Sigo Outdoors commented his favorite thing to throw in the spring is spinnerbaits, which does not surprise me at all based on conversations I've had with him in the past. His PB was caught on a spinnerbait, so he's a little biased, I should say. But it is what it is. But yeah, so
I haven't used spinnerbaits in like a good hot minute. But one of my favorite memories is I was like 9 years old and I was watching Bill Dance Outdoors and he was using spinnerbaits. I was like, I'm gonna do what he does because it works. It's like he's on TV. So I put on the spinnerbait and I'm doing what he's doing, reeling in, letting it sink or drop. And I was by this dam and out of nowhere, it was either, and I'm sure I'm exaggerating this because I was a kid, but it was like this 40-inch fish just came out of nowhere and just slammed the spinnerbait on the wall of the dam. And like, it was traumatic. Like I dropped my fishing pole and I picked it up and stuff, but that spinnerbait was not the same. Like it's the only time I've ever seen a lure like actually bend. Like the wire, like it was unusable after that.
See, I've caught plenty of fish on spinnerbaits, but I no longer own any spinnerbaits because it's not a technique I really like that much. Anthony actually has all my spinnerbaits I used to have, and it's a lot of them.
I do. I have a few. That's for sure. I do. I definitely have a few now. We do have some more people popping in. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Butterflies and Sunshine, welcome in, and Bobcat Outdoors, welcome in. Yes, I know some of you catfish guys are here. You're like, oh, hey, they're talking about catching bait. Yeah, okay, take it as you will. Maybe that's what we're doing. Double Hook Angling, I miss you too, David. Welcome in, man. Glad to see that you're alive and well after your episode the other day. For those who don't know, David had a heart attack. He's on the mend. But yeah, he had to deal with that last week. So we're glad he's still around and kicking. But all right, so we talk about obviously if you're following bait, you're doing stuff that looks like bait, whether it be glide baits, spinner baits, buzz baits, chatterbaits, ploppers, plastics. We talk about all that already. But the preferred habitat. Do you guys have a preferred type of habitat you fish this time of year?
Shallow lily pads and stuff like that is kind of where I like. When the lily pads start sprouting.
I prefer raccoon tails personally because they're not super thick yet, so you can kind of get in there without getting tangled up. That being said, this has been a weird year in Michigan. Like normally right now is a lull where you can't get out on a boat. You definitely can't get out on the ice. And I've seen people out there actually. I went to a St. Patrick's Day party, and they're trolling for brown trout right now. It it's weird. So normally this time of year, I'm just sitting on
Sitting.
the couch, like can't go out on the water at all. And now we're like, yeah, like I got fishing poles spooled up right now, hoping to catch something this weekend.
I got you.
And I pointed right over there because my buddy just got me a couple of fishing poles for my birthday.
Nice. Speaking of which, happy birthday, man.
Thanks, man.
Happy birthday,
Hey,
Sam.
I appreciate it.
Others don't know Sam's birthday. He's old.
Yeah.
That's all
No,
I can say
I'm
about
only
that.
I'm 29. It just happens to be my 8th year being 29.
Oh, okay. Got you. But yeah. So for me, I like fishing rocky points. That's where I'm going right now. For me, when the fish are coming in off these main lake channels and they're going into these creek arms, they're going to hit those points at the end of the creek channels first, and they're going to slowly move their way up. That's generally the pattern I see, and I hear people talk about in my area that I fish, and so that's where I'm going. I'm going to fish these rockier areas. I can get away with finessing them, drop shots, stuff like that. You can even throw a Tokyo rig right now. You want to keep that bait close to the bottom and pop it up over the shallow part of that point, going towards deeper water or vice versa. And the fish are going to be on the wind blown side. So
I get so
to me, that's
mad
what-
fishing rocks. Like it bothers me so much when I get snagged up. I'm like, man, I just tried this.
So Michigan versus Tennessee. I was born in Michigan. I fished Michigan for forever. The only rocks Michigan really has is the Great Lakes.
Hi, I live 5 miles away from the Great Lakes.
Right, but like everything else up there, I remember fishing was muddy, mucky, weedy. I mean, it was literally bass fishing heaven, if you will. And then I come down here and it's like,
yeah.
oh, hey, we got rocks. We have rocks until we have too many weeds to fish. Like there's no in between.
No, like it's great bass fishing here. Like it's common to pull a 5-pounder. I'll throw those back. Like
Anthony, you called it on that one.
Called what?
We have rocks until there's too many weeds to fish.
Yes, exactly. There's no in between. They say sparse grass. Okay, that's like 3 days out of the year. So it's different. But for me,
and then when it dies off, say like if I fish Wheeler after a big bass tournament or something like that, all the grass that has come down from Gunnersville is ridiculous.
They say stuff floats downstream. I'll just leave it at that. So yeah, it's crazy, and that literally. So up north, I'm doing the same thing you guys saw. You like fishing lily pads. I'm gonna fish the lily pads up north. I'm gonna fish reed lines. I'm gonna fish the edge of where the finally drops off at some point at like 25 feet of water because the water's so clear. I'm gonna fish the edge of that, and yeah, I'm gonna still use these baits. But then like if I'm gonna be fishing these rocky areas instead, it's just a completely different ball game. The baits are different. Like up there, I'm gonna do more of the weightless stuff in the grass, but I have to do stuff with weights on the rocks because I got to be able to feel it hitting the rocks, so I know I'm not getting snagged or that I'm deep enough. It's just a completely different ball game. And
I'm the exact opposite and I do a lot of bridge fishing here, so I do encounter quite a bit of rocks from that.
Sure.
But I feel like whenever I throw weights on at a rocky area, I always get snagged up.
So the key from my understanding, and it's the way it's been for forever, is to use the least amount of weight possible. Once you get that point where you're able to just barely feel the bottom, don't go any heavier. Your bait looks more natural. You're going to get hung up less. I know quite a common technique for fishing on the rivers here, fishing the riprap right below the dam, for just anything multi-species wise, chasing the little threadfin shad is just a 16th or a 32nd ounce jig head with a small minnow bait on there, and you just let it drift over the rocks. And when it finally does get smacked, it's going to get smacked. But that's how you say is you're moving the rod tip up and down just a little bit, and it's just enough to keep from getting hung up on the rocks. And it's crazy effective. But it's just different. Everybody treats it different. The area of the country in makes it different. The general process is the same, right? So if you're fishing a lake, They have a lake that doesn't like Tennessee River is fed by the Tennessee River chain is all reservoirs fed by the Tennessee River.
Yep.
Certain lakes over on the Mississippi River and stuff like that, those are reservoirs fed by that river. So they have this giant river channel, and it changes the way the lake fishes versus like a natural lake. I used to grow up on this lake called Bass Lake and Otter Lake. Yeah, there was a creek that fed them, but there was no channel that went through the lake. It was just creek fed on one side, and it turned to the creek again on the other side, and there was this deep hole in the middle, and that's the lake. And so, yeah, you might get some fish that relate to that little bit of current from the creek, but for the most part, they're doing their own thing in the lake. They could be, if your lake was round, right, and you have a creek here and the other end's here. Well, the fish might actually be here and here instead. They don't care. It's a totally different ball game. But it's just something to think about because it's just crazy. I'm really struggling here with it.
I have
can't.
no experience
I
fishing
miss it.
anything like that.
Well, and that's exactly right. So I mean, that's one thing I hear a lot of guys. Oh, bass fisherman got it so easy. Tournament fisherman got it so easy. Well, it's literally completely different. If you any species of fish you fish that's across the country is going to do something different based on the place that it lives. Granted, they're all going to eat, sleep, spawn, whatever, right? You can't that's never going to change. But the techniques you use, the bait they're chasing, all that stuff completely is influenced by where they're at. And it's just something to take into consideration. And then, yeah, so the areas you're covering, the baits you're using, that all changes. And then obviously later on down the line, springtime you get the spawn. It goes winter, pre-spawn, spawn, post-spawn, and then summer. That's the 5 general patterns, right? Winter's deep water, pre-spawn. They're chasing bait really hard. They're following that into the shallower areas to be able to bulk up and feed. Spawn, they're doing their business. Post spawn, they're hitting all the bait fish again because they're tired and hungry from doing the thing. And then summer is generally speaking, summer you're just two fishable patterns in the summer. You're going to go either shallow or you're going to go back deep where they were in the winter, back to those ledges. Again, they're just following the bait. But during this time of year, you want to be mobile. If you're going to be fishing for these fish, you want to be mobile. And it pretty much goes for any species because they almost all do the same thing to some sort of extent. They go off from their winter deep water into the shallow water and then back to the deep water. So you have to be mobile and you have to be covering these areas. Start at the back of these creeks or coves closest to the deep water and then slowly move your way up to shallower and shallower water. And you'll find quite quickly where those fish are at because you might fish the main point, get nothing. Secondary point, nothing. But that third point or that the very back of the cove or the very last part is just absolutely loaded with fish. And it can literally make or break a day. Just keeping that in mind and taking that into consideration.
Have you guys ever used more exotic and weird lures in the springtime? I'm thinking like dragonflies, turtle baits, things like that.
I've used spiders and I've used the dragonflies.
I have not used either of those, but for me, wonky colors in the spring, especially when the water's a little bit dirtier. Yeah, you're throwing your highlighter pink worms, you're throwing your red chatterbaits, red crankbaits, red jigs. I mean, you're literally throwing something that's got this bright, bold color. It's just to catch their attention because they're eating so hard, and you have that one thing's a little bit different, and it just seems like they smack it for no reason really, other than the fact, oh hey, I can see that.
I feel like that's like once you find the color for any species of fish, like that's the key thing. Whether that be
generally speaking, you're taught to match the hatch, right? If they're eating a bluegill, then you match a bluegill. If they're eating a shad, you match a shad. But in the spring, it literally seems like you can grab anything out of your tackle box, any color, rather, I should say. Obviously, the bait technique might be a little more specific, but any color in that technique seems to do just fine. And it's a weird phenomenon. And specifically for here in this area, it's red anything. And it's absolutely nuts. But
so most of the time, like when I use red, I'm targeting walleye. In the springtime, I try to go like chartreuse, like a bright, annoying green color.
Sure.
I was just thinking about my buzz baits and stuff like that, and the tail is just whatever it's random.
Yeah, I do more chartreuse in the Summer. I mean, I pretty much use chartreuse all year round, but like I said, I do more of the exotic colors, the reds, the weird funky blues, yellow, stuff like that. I do that more in the spring.
See, I've got more luck on like the black and blue trick worms during. If it calls for me to be a little more finessey with it, that's what I use.
No, I
I've
got you.
done wacky rigs. I've got a box dedicated to nothing but wacky rigs. But I still always find myself going back to Carolina rig trick worm.
Yeah, so for me, it's the weightless trick worm. Hey, there she is, Miss Kim. She is the local tackle shop owner here where I'm at, and she said that she has reports of bass being caught in less than 2 inches of water currently. She doesn't follow the birds. They're using jerk baits and small swim baits. Same thing you guys talk about. Just stuff that looks like the shad. And she's even throwing out some other stuff. Red and orange or chatterbaits and swim baits. White if it's muddy. Like Kim, thank you very much. I appreciate that input. I appreciate that report. But yeah, no, it's definitely that time of year. You can get away with this crazy colors and whatnot,
Right.
but and you can still match the hatch and still do well. It's just a matter of what they want during that time of day. But I'm
It's like
like
this time of year, any top water I throw, it's a funky color. Something bright. Some like all the smaller swim baits I use, they're bright, funky colors.
Man,
And
I cannot wait to move out south. Like, I can't wait to be able to go fishing right now. Like,
well, come on in.
working on it.
You're moving down here, and I'm moving up towards Chattanooga. So come on in. Let's just all move
So
in the
it's-
same area.
That's what I was saying. Like, that would be kind of like all three of us should just, start a bait shop or something together.
for sure.
Be like,
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I can do it, man. I like fishing too much. I don't know if I can sit there and talk about fishing all day.
well,
It's hard.
I can be in
hard
charge
enough
of.
to drive.
I can be in charge of the bait shop. You guys, you will have to trust me on that.
We'll call it Peg Leg Sam.
Peg leg Sam's. Oh man.
I like it,
Yeah,
but
my
if we use me a name, like I expect, like amputee stuff all around. Like maybe we can make a foot lure.
maybe they make all kinds of other body part lures.
We could talk to Marlon Bates and see if he can't carve us a foot.
Catch a big catfish and have it mounted and have like a foot sticking out of its gill, looking like he ate
There
somebody.
you go. Yeah. Let's see some more people in here. Butterflies and Sunshine, welcome. I don't think I said hello to you, Kim. Thank you again for coming in and mentioning that report. Mrs. Viking, welcome in. Stuart, I believe I missed somebody. I thought it was somebody else as well. Maybe not.
Give
Chris,
me one
he's in
second.
here as
It's
well.
about to be an awkward angle. I gotta grab the puppy. He's whining.
Okay. At least he warned us first, I guess. But yeah, this time of year, and again, like Kim said, the whole covering from deep to shallow thing, they're already up shallow here in Tennessee. That's awesome. But again, you can follow them back out towards the summer. There's gonna be some that stick around, and that's just plain and obvious. It is what it is. But for you guys that are further up north, this is the time to think about really starting to move from the deeper water into the shallow water and finding these points. If you can find a steady pattern of what they're relating to, you can literally hit all those places on the lake and get you a full bag all day. It's literally one of the best times of the year to fish. It's also one of the best times of year to catch a big fish. Pre-spawn females right before they get on the beds. That's gonna be when they're the heaviest. They're full of eggs. So you're getting those extra ounces from that. And I will say, based on that comment right there, though, please, please, please consider releasing the big females back. You want those genes to stay in the gene pool. You want them to be able to, do their thing. Don't distress them out too much. Get them in the boat. Get your picture. Let them go. We are a CPR group. Do we eat fish? Yes, we do. Do we occasionally take some home? Yes, we do. But for the most part, we're CPR anglers on most things. At least I am. I know Zach is with the bigger catfish because that's what his main thing is, catfishing. Sam, I'm not so sure because I've been fishing. I've been fishing with Sam twice. I know he loves eating fish, but I've never seen him catch a fish or eat a fish.
Wait, have we gone fishing twice? I can only think of once.
Well, Anthony, I've been fishing with you several times. I've never seen you catch a fish or eat a fish.
Don't start with me, Zach.
He's making a good point. Like, I haven't seen you catch a fish either.
That's true. Well,
Wait, is
maybe
your
we only did go
YouTube
once.
channel, is that like a paid actor that's catching all these fish?
Yeah, it's not me. Yeah, it's not me at
Yeah.
all.
Oh, yeah, it's
Yeah.
making sense now.
It's green screen,
you
man.
found me
Green
out.
screen.
Yeah, you found me out. It's not me. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate it. Let's see what else. I missed something else. Nathan Schultz, welcome in. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in, checking us out. Yeah. So, like I said, you covering water. You're throwing minnow-shaped baits. You're throwing
I just
oddball
watched
colors.
the Ghostbuster
You
movie.
really threw me off. What's that?
Oh, Nathan, he was commented on Ghostbuster fish. I just
Oh.
went and saw the Ghostbuster movie for my birthday,
I
so
got you, yeah.
that's why the shirt.
I got you. But yeah, no. So again, seasonal patterns. You're going from deeper water to shallower water. Those spots in between those, that's where you're going to be able to find these fish. And when you find one section where they're relating, you're going to be able to find them everywhere else on the lake in those same areas. And it's like I said, it's a good way to load up on a lot of fish. It's a good way to load up on a big fish. And one of the other benefits too, once you see them start going shallower and shallower, you can start figuring out where they're going to bed ahead of time. It makes the next trip easier. Like you literally like, okay, they're at this point this time. If I go fishing again next week or the week after, they're probably gonna be back or forward, either shallow or deeper, depending on what part of the spring you're in. And it's just something to keep in mind. The idea being that using the techniques that make sense, following the fish, again, being mobile is key. This time of year, because the fish are going to be constantly on the move. And it's the timing and the locations you have to think about the most because of that. But again, if you're dealing with, especially during the actual full-fledged spawn or right before they're going to spawn, conservation is key this time of year. You can really, if you have a larger group of people, especially some of these bigger tournaments, some of these big lakes, if they really, really hammer a lake hard, you can really screw up the population in a hurry. So it's just something to keep in mind. With that being said, I told you guys we were going to have a special guest today to talk about a very specific technique. He is in the house. I am ready to bring him up. We're going to let him talk a little bit about his background, what he does, about his channel, because he does have a YouTube channel as well. But specifically, there's one technique that I've known him for forever. And most people I know that know him know he fishes this technique. It is a really good technique in the spring. He does fish year round. We are about to bring him in. Everybody say hello to Modog. Welcome in, sir. Hope you're doing fantastic.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good, man.
You already had me up there. I had that on my face. I was like,
all good. No, I didn't have you up there yet. I was talking you up, man. Talking you up.
How's it going? Welcome in.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you coming up and talking to us about this today. For those who don't know, this is Modog. He has a channel called Fishing with Modog TV. He's a little over 1,200 subscribers now. Is that right? Or 1,300?
1,300.
Yeah. So he's been around a while. He's doing well. He fishes out of a kayak mostly. He fishes tournaments a lot.
I do.
But he has his favorite technique, and I'm gonna let him talk about his channel a little bit first. Then we'll dive into what his favorite technique is and go into that. Try to get y'all some extra information about that, and hopefully get you some insider tips from a pro to get on your fish.
I am not a pro. Hi, everybody. Oh, wait. Should I do it? Okay. Hello out there. All right. Hey, I'm fishing with Modog. Everybody just calls me Modog. Some people in the chat, they'll call me by my real name, which drives me crazy. But I have a fishing channel. Like he says, I fish out of a kayak. I do tournament fishing here in Oklahoma, in Western Oklahoma. Western Oklahoma Kayak Anglers is what the tournaments that we fish is called. And one of my other people I fish against over there is coming in here right now to find out some tips. Yes, that one. Yes, that one. That one. We have a thing going on, me and him. He likes the what do they call that one thing again that has the wire with the little blades on the side?
I don't know what that's called. No, I have no idea.
I can't put it out of my mouth because that's like blasphemy and stuff. He fishes with that one lure, that little thing. But anyway, I fish with the chatterbait a lot. Like he said, it is a go-to bait. Like I was sitting here listening to them, and I'm like, I heard him saying, whopper ploppers too. I love whopper ploppers. Don't get me wrong. I love the topwater bite early, but chatterbait is the thing I go to all the time. But I can't believe he just said that whopper ploppers were new up there. I wanted to say, what?
Yeah,
What?
it is very new.
Really?
It's Michigan. Yeah, we're the
Michigan's
last to
lagging.
find out anything. What's that?
So Michigan is lagging.
Man,
It's
go try one.
Oh no, I have 3 of them in my tackle box.
No, I mean like all the time. All the time. Not just mornings, not just afternoons, not just evenings. All the time, whopper plopper, especially in that cool kind of water that you guys have.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
See, whopper ploppers work really good in creeks here in Alabama.
Yeah. I believe that. And this bait that I love, that he's got me up here to talk about, that all you over there, I put out a video not knowing that this is what I was going to do. I mean, I think I put out the video and knowing that he was going to have me up here. But I just put out a video on the bladed jig. If you haven't seen that, go over to my channel. You can check it out there. I'm sure my link is in here somewhere. You can check it out. It's called.
I'll get it put in there for you guys. You guys check it out later.
But obviously, check that out. I'm going to tell you some of the same things on here that you can find over there. But this is just, I can't believe he asked me to come up here. I feel really like I went out and had my hair did so that I could come up here and bought new shirts and socks. And I'm actually wearing jeans. I never wear jeans. So I got all did up for, I didn't do my nails or anything like that, but I'm just saying, I went and did my hair and got white on my beard. See that? I got some white. That might come from the children. I don't know. Probably.
I did my hair too. It's okay.
You did. Yes. But yes, definitely. I love fishing the chatterbait. Anybody who knows me or comes over to my channel, it is so funny because Anthony knows I will go out and try to throw different lures. I've talked to him about it. I said, man, he goes, why do you have so many poles in your boat? You don't need a million poles in your kayak. You only throw one bait. And I was like, listen, I make videos and I go out and I try and I say, I'm going to fish with a bladed jig today, or not a bladed jig. I'm sorry. See, I can't
literally anything else. You could literally be anything else.
I can't even do it. I can't even say anything else because that's the only thing I throw. But I'll try to throw the wacky rig. I'll try to throw the square bill. I'll try and try. I throw like 3 times. He caught me on this. Him and Natural State Fishing caught me on this the other day because I put a video out and I throw this lure out there like 3 times. And then what do? Reel it in, hook it up, grab the chatterbait, throw it out there. What do? I catch fish.
Yep.
It is a great bait. Now, I'm not going to lie. Listen, I love the chatterbait. There is nothing. You can't tell me a better lure, and you can look in my video and I tell you this at the very end. I'm like, you can't have this. Is a jackhammer made by Z-Man. This is also a jackhammer, but it's called a Chatterbomb. They're both made by the same company for different companies, if that makes sense. There's also the Bambi blade, which I have right here in our buddy over there, Natural State Fishing. That's right. Oh, these things are amazing. I'm telling you right here, these bladed hair jigs right here, they're amazing. But there are so many different types of bladed jigs that you can go out and throw, and they all have about the same action. Some hit a little harder, some hit a little softer, but these things, you can take them out and you can throw them and let them sink to the bottom. You can pop them off the bottom. No grass. Everybody thinks that you have to fish a spin or a chatterbait around grass. You don't have to. You don't have to fish it around rock. You can fish it in sand. Throw it out, let it drop, pop it off the bottom. They're crawdads, basically. If you're swimming it straight back to the boat, like he said earlier, you can, or in his description, I read your description, by the way, about this. You can throw it out there. You can swim it back, doing variations of your technique, bringing it, popping it, doing it. It looks like a dying bait fish in the water. Once you put a trailer on one of these, it just makes it a whole different bait. I'm telling you, if you haven't tried out a chatterbait, you got to pick them up. There's so many things that you can do with these. You guys can see passion about the chatterbait. I can't, It's like talking to a NASCAR driver about their race car. They won't shut up about it for like 5 hours, and all you wanted to do was ask a question about the tires. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, you got another hour and 25 minutes.
The chatterbait. It's just an amazing bait. There's so many things that you can do with it. Like when your skirts fall off. See, like this one right here. This is a raggedy old chatterbait. I've thrown this thing, I don't know how many times. You see that part right there where the skirt's gone?
Yeah, the skirt's gone.
Can you imagine how many fish this have caught? I don't count how many my baits catch, but I've thrown that. I'll even throw this today, even with that skirt that way, and it'll still catch bass. I'm just saying, they are amazing, amazing baits. I know somebody in here said, who was it up there? Viking? You said that you throw the spinnerbait more than.
I used to throw spinnerbaits more than chatterbaits.
More than chatterbaits. So now what do you throw?
Glide baits. He's an oddball.
I throw big glide baits now.
Big glide bait? You can do the same thing with this that you can do with a glide bait. You can't glide it, of course. It's got a weight on it. But I'm just saying, you can get the same action out of this that you can out of that 9 or 8-inch swim bait or glide bait. I'm sorry. But this is what I was talking about earlier about the skirts being gone. If your skirt's gone, look at that. Have you ever seen one of these do this? Somebody do this with a bladed jig?
I have.
Actually, there was a gentleman just made a comment about it. He said the Anthony Bishop, the mini skirtless chatterbaits with a soft plastic trailer, for him, his favorite is the twister tail. Is a top 3 for creeks, 100%.
That's right. So this right here, I mean, if you take this and you throw that out there, I can't explain what it does, but this is what happens when you have a skirt that's all torn up. You take it off and you can put on a paddle tail. You can put on a crawdad. You can put on, what are they called? The hog wallas. You can put on a hog walla on here. Can you imagine the action you get out of this thing chattering across the water with those little legs everywhere? They're such an amazing bait. Listen, I like all baits. I'm sorry.
I will also say the skirtless chatterbaits are really popular for redfish, also in the marshes. I don't know why all of a sudden that's been a thing, but I've seen more and more people talking about it.
Yeah.
So
love watching Sigel and Modog go. Well, listen, I love Dale to death, and I love spinnerbaits. Listen, I even showed him, and I know I knock spinnerbaits. Don't get me wrong. I throw them. I don't tell Dale when I throw them. I probably don't tell anybody when I throw them because, you know, it's like a word coming out of my mouth saying the word, but I'm just saying. But so look, I'm not in charge of this. I keep trying to hit things, you know, because I got my own channel. I do my own live. I'm over here trying to move the thing around and do this, but hey, that's a great question right there. The blade color.
Why don't you go ahead and go into that?
I like to use black. I like to use black bladed. I mean, if you have them and you can buy them silver and just paint them black. I mean, you know, I guess they charge extra for painting the blades. I don't know why. It's crazy. But if you have a blade that you just want to paint black is the color. I don't know why when they don't see it or they see it. Does that make sense? Because they have the stealth blade, and I hate using those because I think they don't chatter as much as a regular chatterbait. That plastic blade does not chatter like
and it's kind of the whole point of the name, I would think.
Well, the whole point in the name is the blade itself. That's why they call it the stealth, because it's supposed to be clear. You're not supposed to be able to, or the fish are not supposed to be able to see the blade making the noise. You know what I'm saying? But when you see one of these coming through the water, I mean, I'm not a bass or anything, but they're looking at the silhouette coming through the water.
Right.
So the deal with the stealth blade is they're trying to get them to not see the blade. That's why it's see-through. But I think if you have a black blade, then it makes the bait stand out more, especially in that muddy water. Now, you guys saw me fish that dirty, muddy water the other day. And the reason that I did it was I was proving a point with these baits that those fish will bite what they hear, not see. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's why I use these in dirty water. I mean, you saw when I caught those fish, you couldn't even see them until they were up almost out of the water. You couldn't even see them. It was that dirty. It was super duper dirty. And I was catching, I don't even know how many caught that day, but they're awesome. They're awesome. But to answer his question, if it's like not sunny outside, I will use a blade that doesn't have any paint. I will use a silver blade. If it's sunny outside, I will use the blade that has black paint on it. But I guess I use them no matter what they have on them, just as long as I can catch a fish on them, then I'll just keep throwing them.
I got you. Well, I got some more questions for you too. I made a whole list here.
Oh, you're good. So, I'm just telling everybody about it. You go.
So I know I know you fish year round, but if you had an absolute ideal condition, I'm talking weather, talking watercolor, talking area of fish. What is your if you had the absolute perfect combination, like there's a 7-pounder waiting for that chatterbait to come by its face, what's it going to be?
I'd have to fish with Dale. I'd have to be fishing with Dale.
Okay, all right.
I would have to be fishing with Dale and wait for him to move from a spot and then move in that spot. That's the ideal conditions.
I got you. So it doesn't matter. Watercolor doesn't matter as soon as Dell leaves the area. I got you.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. No, ideal situation for a chatterbait. I mean, when they came out with the chatterbait, it was supposed to be thrown on those cloudy days. It's supposed to be thrown in grass, basically. They made them so that when you throw them out, they're supposed to come across the grass or hit the grass. They veer off. Kind of like when you throw a square bill and it hits a rock and it veers off to one side. It's supposed to do the same thing with grass, except for they want these to get caught in the grass. So then you jerk it out and it looks like a bait fish coming out of the water. And then it's supposed to like make the bass react because it's flying out of the grass. So the bait, will look like it knows the bass is there. Basically is what it is. Me, I throw it where there's a little bit of grass or no grass. The ideal conditions would be grass, of course, because that's what they're made for. And I just skirt them right across the top of the grass. If it's already out of the water, I'll find a little cut where there's a little bit of grass on the side of it and throw it in there. I will throw this thing in wood. I will throw it in wood. Granted, I get them hung up a lot because, it's got an exposed hook and all that.
Excuse me.
But the ideal situation would be grass, a little bit of cloud cover, and a nice little breeze, like 5, 6, 7, 8 miles an hour wind. But Anthony, you're asking me what the ideal situation.
I know. I'm a fisherman too. You go with what you got. I
throw this when there's ice on the water. Still catch bass.
Year round.
Year round.
All right. So you said your preferred bait would be with a black blade, but what about the rod and reel setup you're using, the line and whatnot? What is your
the rod? I like to use a medium heavy with a fast to moderate tip. You want the heavy part of that in the bottom end of your pole. So like this one. So this is my Zebco. That is a laser SG1 right here. This is the perfect. I mean, I know they make poles for chatterbaits, and if you go out and you buy one of those, you're basically buying the name Chatterbait because that's what's printed on there. It's made for chatterbait. You can go out and find any medium heavy fast action tip and use it. It's perfect for it. You feel the vibration as you bring it back. It's got that plenty of backbone in this area here instead of, having it bend all the way over like what a medium heavy moderate. But they are just, you feel much more than using a heavy fast action when you're using a medium heavy. So medium heavy is the ideal pole to use. The reel, anything from 6.4 to 7.1 I would use for a chatterbait because you want to be able to go slow but have that tendency if you want to speed it up. Like if you're using a 7.4 or an 8, you're going to make it go too fast. You can't slow it down enough. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You want it to be able to go slow. Now there's videos out there, and I don't want to keep harping on my channel and saying go watch this video and that video, but you'll see in some of the videos I'll even talk about it in there that when you're reeling it too fast, you're not getting any bait or any bites. Throw it out there, reel it really slow, but give it a little pop every now and again. Give it a little pop. And then if that's what they're biting on, then they'll want the bait slow. there's been times when I've thrown that bait out there and I wasn't getting any bites. So I go and speed it up to get it back to the boat and I get a hit right then. So then, they want it fast. I mean, you can do so many things with this bait. Look, I'm out of breath now because you can do so many things with this bait. It is just an amazing bait. I love the walking bait, but I can't sit here and love the walking bait. Does that make sense? I love throwing a bladed jig. Just like Dale will sit over here and he's like, I love throwing the spinnerbait. I've caught him 3 hours into fishing, never catching a fish, and he's still throwing a spinnerbait because that's his bait to throw. And I keep telling him, come on.
He admitted that in his live stream.
That's me with swim baits and stuff.
Yeah, because it's your thing. But I mean, and everybody's harping on me. Why do you always throw that? Why do you always throw that? Well, go look at my channel. I may fish in ponds a lot. Listen, you guys, I fish in ponds a lot. Everybody knows that. I fish in ponds a lot. But you can ask Zigo, when I go out and I fish in a tournament, I'm on a lake and I still catch fish. I know how to fish everywhere. I know how to fish this and I know how to fish that. And I always end up throwing this. I think I'm addicted to maybe this. I might need to go and call a helpline or something. I'm addicted.
All right. So while you got that in your hand, you can show the camera a little closer. So that's specifically the Chatterbait brand Chatterbait.
Yeah, this is a brand Chatterbait.
What is the difference? Can you explain to everybody the difference between that and say a Strike King Thunder Cricket or something that doesn't have that patent? Because there's a specific patent there that people may not know about. Can I explain that a little bit?
Let me grab an actual jackhammer. Here is an actual jackhammer. You see where that blade sits right there? You see how it's hooked to that nose? So as this coming through the water, it sits like this, just like that, coming back through the water like that. I'm sorry, upside down, like this, coming back through just like that. So when this rattles, it rattles back and forth like this and side to side, and it hits this weighted head right here, and that's what makes your chat sound. The chat. I'm not doing it on here. I know you want me to. I'm not doing it.
Hey, I mean, it's my birthday. Can you please do it? I'm pulling that card.
Happy birthday, okay, here we go. All right, so as you pull this through the water, this blade goes back and forth, just like this. It rattles, and it goes all the way.
All right. That's a new YouTube short right there. Busted.
You're welcome.
Flip it, everybody. Flip it.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I love that movie, by the way. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm definitely wanting to go see that one. So.
Oh, everybody dies at the end. There, you don't need to watch
it.
I'm still paying money to go watch it.
I'll probably watch it again. It was a great movie.
But as you bring these across, it hits that head. Now, they're like he said, Z-Man has a patent on this blade. And you can ask Natural State Fishing when he tried to do the same thing, because you can go out and you can buy these blades and they have this little hook thing on here where you can bend this little thing up and it still hooks through there and blah, blah, blah. Don't go try to sell them because you'll get in trouble. I'm just letting you know. Don't try to sell those because they will patent you and say this and that. But so say this one right here. This is a jackhammer chatterbait. Oh,
there you go.
This is a jackhammer chatterbait. So you see the nose right there. Okay. So here is an original chatterbait. See how far away from there it is? This is what they started out with. And I mean, it does do a lot of chattering and it does do a lot of rattling, and I'm not doing the sound, but it does do that still. But it just doesn't give it that click sound that you want. You know, who said they throw a lot of buzz baits? Yes, you.
That was Sam.
That was me.
Yes. So, you know, when Booyah came out with the buzz bait that had the little clicker on it, and every time that paddle would go around, it would hit that and go click, 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 click.
Yeah.
Off the water. Okay. Well, that's basically the same sound you have on this under the water.
Okay.
From the original jackhammer. But you don't get that same sound with this. You get that little bit of click out of the nose. I don't know if you can even hear it. That's all you get. You hear it?
Oh, we can hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's this hitting the head.
Oh yeah, that's a lot louder.
So that's what you hear under the water. So that's the patent that they have. There's a whole lot of them. Like who is it? Guggen Squad has the clickbait. Somebody said they can't believe they saw me with a Guggen Squad clickbait on my table the other day when I was doing that. But it makes the sound when it makes it hits those little balls. You saw the balls that are on the Guggen, and you can move them around, and that rattles in between there. That's how they got away from this patent, is they put that blade up a little farther on top of a wire, and now that blade rattles back and forth and hits that wire. So you get basically the same sound, but they're just not as good. They're just not as good.
And then you bring up a good point. So what, I'm not going to say I'm going to let you talk about it. What, I know there's something you can do to alleviate a problem that the other ones have because they don't have that patent. And it's the difference even from the original Z-Man Chatterbait to the Jackhammer, even with the Evo Elite in between, all the other stuff, there is a thing that you have to deal with in terms of getting the bait started. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so like when you throw a jackhammer out there, okay, we won't do that because I know what you're trying to say. So when you throw an original chatterbait and you throw it out there and it hits the water and you start reeling, it's just going to sit there and glide back just like this. It's going to be like, I don't really feel like doing until you pop the tip on your rod and then you start reeling and then you'll feel the chatterbait coming back. When they made the jackhammer, because they put it closer to that head, it automatically sinks that head down and brings the blade back up. So right when you start swimming in this, it automatically starts chattering. Automatically. There's nothing, you can't make these stop chattering unless you put grass on them or something. They chatter the whole time. But like with this one here and with the Evo, the what's the other one that they have now that they just brought out?
They got the big blade. They got the
big blades. The big blades, they tend to catch a lot of water right when you throw them out too, and they'll automatically start chattering too. But a lot of the times you just got to pop the tip of the blade and then it'll start working. Hey,
hi,
what's going on?
Ever pop it? Hey, how's it going?
hello.
That is Mrs. Modog.
Hey,
No, you didn't have to. I wasn't trying to distract you.
Was that your? Everybody know Miss Modog, hopefully.
I don't know who everybody is. Who's who?
That's Viking.
Okay.
That's Sam.
What are their Are they YouTubes? Like
Yeah.
YouTubers?
Yeah, so Sam is Sam's amputee adventures.
Okay.
Zach is Catfish Viking on YouTube, and I'm Yak Shore. So
That's Yak Shore.
Cool. Hello.
Yeah, that's Anthony. He wants to fish it. Oh, I know what you're doing.
No.
I get it now.
No.
Why you asked me to come up here? I get it. I went and had my hair did. I went and did my eyebrows. I went.
Wait, what is it?
and cleaned my. He's doing a 1v1 with me.
I'm trying to learn all the insider secrets.
He's trying to learn all these tips and tricks.
Ooh, he's cheating.
But no. The 1v1 was supposed to already happen. It didn't work out that way.
Didn't work out. My bad. I'm not trying to make a mockery of your show, man. I love your podcast. I think you're doing a great job, and I really do appreciate you having me come up here and talk about this. If you can't tell, I'm a little nervous. You're like a big deal on this podcast thing.
Oh, I don't know about that. But we'll see.
Listen, I told everybody I was going to be on here, and they're like, oh, you're going to be on the Yak Show? I was like, yeah, man. I like this. When I was at the hair salon, I was talking to all the ladies there.
Stop. You need to fire whoever your stylist is.
Well, I don't know. I don't see any fuzz from here. I think he probably did a pretty good job. I hope you gave him a tip.
Wait, there's some.
Instead of shampoo, they use
I was about to say, I'll donate a little bit if you need me to.
I do need some. Hey, can you cut off like just 3 or 4 inches of a bunch and then have you get
have natural state
over to natural state fishing and have him make a hair gel?
You can use mine and it can be
right.
What bunch do you want? Do you want this one or this one?
No, did I answer that question? Is that what you were looking for?
Yes, that was exactly what I was talking about. Yeah, the prime and the bait. A lot of people it took me forever to figure out that was a thing.
So listen, this right here is a thunder cricket. My bad, sorry. And you can tell this is a thunder cricket just by looking at it. See that blade?
Yeah, it's totally different shape.
This is how they got around. The little patent part, because they didn't add the blade that Z-Man had. They added their own blade. and their own style. So they too nose hooked it. If you can see that.
Yep.
And then they put this little twisty thing on here. I don't know if you can see how that's bent. But when you bring this back, it automatically sets itself down against that head. So it automatically does. So they're still getting away with this, but you also still have to pop this one a little bit to get it rattling.
Right.
But the Z-Man jackhammer, you don't. That's why they call it a jackhammer. It automatically starts doing it. And if you don't know, oh, there's another one that Ted Off the Hook Outdoors told me about, and it's called the Terminator or something like that. I've never heard of it before, but I want to get one. I want to see how good they work. Oh, and these Bambi blades, believe it or not, listen. These Bambi blades, look, that one isn't nose hooked either. See, it's got that little thing. But I'm telling you, go get you some of these. Rock Creek Bait Company. Go check them out. If you like throwing bladed jigs, go buy one of these from him. He will hand tie this on his live and then send it to you 3 days later. So you get to see him make it, and then it's sent to you, and then you get to use it. But these, I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it until he sent it to me. He said these things hit just like a jackhammer, if not more. And they are amazing. These baits here are amazing.
Well, and you get totally like profile of that too because of the hair.
They don't like grass. They don't.
That's what happened to his hair.
That's what it's right.
Dyed it. What was that company again?
It's rockcreekbaitcompany.com.
All right.
Go over there and check them out. It's Natural State Fishing. Mr. Matt and Sophie, they have a live that they do over at Natural State.
And he does it at least one night. He does Friday and Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, right? Is that right? It's not right. I have that wrong. I can't remember when he does it.
Oh,
he was live twice in the last week. Yeah. But yeah, super good dude. Definitely ties jigs. Definitely ties baby blades. He does some other stuff too. He'll tie. I don't think he does flies. Does he do flies? I can't remember if he does flies.
Yeah,
he does. I don't think he does flies. I don't think he does flies. He does really. Well, no, he does do flies, just not little ones. I don't think.
No, definitely not little ones. I'm looking
he does
at a fly right now.
It's like on a 4-aught or something like that. So you know.
Yeah.
But man, these, I'm telling you. What is your next question? So I can stop talking, not stop talking about these, but stop like just blowing my mouth.
I got you. So you talked about retrieves earlier. Other than the steady retrieve and the pop it off the bottom and let it, basically jigging it.
Mm-hmm.
What are some other variations you recommend for people to try if they're not catching fish?
So if you're not catching fish and you're throwing a chatterbait out there, well, I'm just kidding. So variation in retrieves is
I was about to say I've used chatterbait a lot, but I've never
what you're throwing. That you're not.
I've never caught a fish on a chatterbait before.
I'll tell you the same thing I told Dell. If you're throwing a chatterbait out there and you're not catching fish, it's because those fish know that you're not Modog. Don't go there. He said. Don't go there. All right, so there is a lot of ways to throw this and retrieve it and to make it work. And I already went over that. Slow your retrieves down on a steady retrieve. So if you're throwing it out there and this is a great beginner bait because all you have to do is throw it out and bring it back, and throw it out and bring it back.
Pop it,
throw it out and bring it back. And then if you're not catching any fish, then you throw it out and you bring it back, and then you can stop it and let it fall. And then you reel it back in and it'll pop it back up, and then it'll fall. And then you just keep doing that. And if they're not biting that, then as you're reeling it in, you pop it a little bit, and that'll make the bait swim off to the sides and do all this. Everybody thinks that just makes the bait speed up and the chatter get louder. No, it actually makes that bait go side to side, just like a walking bait does under the water. And if that ain't working, then you throw it out there and you let it drop all the way to the bottom, and you can slowly bring it up. And these, I know I keep saying the jackhammer. I know I keep saying the Bambi blade and this and that. They're bladed jigs. They all work the same. If you put effort into the tip of your rod, they're going to make it chatter. So if you're on the bottom and you're popping it off the bottom, it's automatically going to come up at an angle and go.
Do it. Yes. Oh,
It's
Today is
automatically
great.
going to do it when you pop it up off the bottom. There's times when those fish want it so low, like it has to be on the bottom, and it doesn't even have to make a sound. It's just like a jig. You can pull this thing across the bottom and not make it do anything until once or twice as it's just like a jig. You guys jig fish?
yes.
Throw it out,
Yes.
let it hit the bottom, slowly roll it back every now and again, give it a little pop, and it'll same thing with one of. That's why I keep saying this is a versatile bait. You can throw this down to the bottom, let it go all the way down, pull your pole sideways instead of up, pull it in at sideways, and it'll hit the bottom just like a what do they call those build things? Crankbait.
Crankbait, yeah.
Whatever it's called. I don't fish with those, so I don't know. So you know what I'm saying?
That's my go-to, won't lie. Like that is the first thing I throw is a crankbait.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Man, let me tell you.
I mean, it's
That is the last thing to come out of my tackle box is a crankbait.
I talk about it all the time. I have this chest right in front of me right here on the other side of the desk that is full of nothing but square bills and crankbaits, and they're brand new in a box. I never throw them. I keep getting them. I don't buy them. They get given to me or sent to me, but I can make this thing do the same thing. I can't make it float back up like a floating crankbait can after it hits the bottom and then floats back up. But I can sure pop this off the bottom and make it go back down and then pull it across the bottom again. And it does the same exact thing. So that's another retrieve that you can have. Throw it. Everybody's scared to throw this by wood. So when you throw this by wood, it's coming back just like this. You see that blade? That's up in front. The hook's up in front here. So unless this thing turns over and upside down and like that, you're not going to get it hooked on a log. It's going to go right over. And most of us don't throw them bare like this anyway. We always have something on it like this, which is going to come over the top of the log. So does that make sense? So don't be scared to throw this in around a log. Now, if that log happens to have branches on it, this will turn over and get caught in one of those. I'm just saying.
You bring up a good point. So that was another question I was asking you a minute. What about something you could do? There is one thing you can do that I know of to help alleviate how much you get stuck in a tree with branches. And it is based on the trailer thing. It is rather than using a stick bait or a minnow bait, use something more like a crawfish imitation where it's wider. That'll help keep it from rolling over.
It will definitely help it keep from rolling over. And I was there. Look.
Yep, that right there. That right there will save you some chatterbaits.
I wasn't there yet.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't there yet.
You brought it
I
up.
just had this, and I was going to say, now, if it has branches, this will roll over, and it will get stuck in there. If you have this on the side, see how flat that is on one side? That will keep your bait. I don't have one rigged up, or I would have had one. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have one rigged up. So, but your bait comes like that. So then you have your, see how flat that is? Mm-hmm. See? So that will actually sit on top of something. I'm not going to, like that. And then it falls. But that will come across, and a lot of times it won't even get hung up. I mean, you're going to get hung up if you throw it in a tree. You're going to get hung up if you throw it around logs. You're not going to get hung up every time you throw it in there. And that's where the bass will hit this around those logs, just like they will a jig. Are you scared to throw your jig in there?
I'm not.
Then why be scared of throwing one of these? It's a jig, just has a blade on the front. It's the same thing. This just has a little bit more sound to it and action to it when you're pulling it back. But yes, you can throw them around logs, stumps. You can throw them around cypress bottoms. You can throw it around cattails. You can throw it around. I mean, every bait, even though it says it's weedless, it's going to pick up weeds. It's not, there's nothing that you're going to throw unless you throw something without a hook on it that's not going to get stuck. It's going to get stuck eventually. I'm just saying. But the precautions that you can take is if you know that you're going and throwing it around stumps, you're throwing it around stuff, put on a flat bodied jig right here, just like this. Another thing that I used to do, because I was always worried about it myself, is I will actually take these and nose hook them and then bring it out at an angle. And just like when you're jig fishing with the bait, you tip hook it so that it comes through. You know what I'm saying? I will ruin a bait. I will ruin a bait for your show right here.
I appreciate that. Well, while you're rigging that up, Sigo, I have a story to tell you based on your comment. He said, honestly, I tried to copy everything he was doing that day and it didn't work for me. That gentleman up in the top right-hand corner or left-hand corner of your screen, his name is Zach. I went catfishing with him one day. We were fishing a tournament, or he was fishing a tournament. I was literally 10 feet away from him. I watched this man catch 25 fish, and I had 0 bites. I was throwing the exact same bait. I actually was throwing on a more finessey setup, and I was not catching anything, not even a single bite. It happens. It is not a reflection. Well, I'm going to say it for myself. It makes me feel better. It's not a reflection of skill. It just happens.
And I still give him crap to this day about it.
Yes.
That's funny. That's funny. All right, so you just take this bait, and I put it on there, and I don't know why I did that, but I wanted to show you. So you're just nose hooking this, just like you would if you're throwing a jig out. You nose hook it. So you always want your trailer just like this, because I like my trailers upside down, if everybody doesn't know that yet. When you're fishing a chatterbait, you don't want this bait looking like this. I can't make it stand out. You don't want it looking like that behind the bait. You want it upside down so that it does that right there.
Because it messes with the blade, right?
There's a reason for that. If it's like this, that bait is made to do this while this is back there like that. That's what they're made for. That's why they have these big tails on the back of them, just like this, made exactly like that. So that when this is coming through the water, this is swinging like that. There's another one for you.
We just need to clip
Happy
them all
birthday.
together.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the
Well, I know
big
you know how he does his shorts where and if your blade does this, and then he's gonna go is the sound you want to make when you throw your blade out there, and then it gets to the end and then it goes back. So if your bait does this, and then it's gonna go back to the beginning, it's going it's gonna be me on everything. But anyway, if it's upside down, they're not made to do anything back there. So this is basically just back there swimming, just back there swimming. You see what I'm saying? So when they're upside down, they don't mess with the blade, because the water is going to be coming across this blade and making this work. But if you have this back here trying to work too, they're both going to work against each other. You'll feel it. The first time that you feel it, you're going to be like, oh, there's grass on there. And then you're going to bring it in and you're going to be like, oh, there's no grass on there. You're going to throw it again and you're going to be like, oh, maybe the blade's bent. It's not that. It's because your trailer's on the wrong way. Turn it over. And everybody says, don't put your blade or your baits on upside down. Yes. Put your baits on. I throw this all the time. I can tell you when you'll feel it. Try it. Try to put your bait on the right way, like it's swimming, like the little fish is back there, and then turn it over and tell me that you don't feel a total difference in this bait. So you nose hook it. I'm going to get there, Anthony, I swear.
You're good.
So you
And
know,
I got a question when you get done with that too.
Oh,
if it's something I don't know, you'll probably want to ask somebody else.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So you just nose hook it at an angle. You bring it up. That'll flip upside down. And you just put it on there like a jig. And then you bend and insert. And then it looks like this. Now, you're going to look at that and you're going to go, well, that looks all funky. But this isn't how you're going to present it to the fish, is it? No. You're presenting it like this. So now what's it look like? Yes, I have a little hump in there, but I mean, it's not going to bother it. So that's what your bait looks like coming through the water. Yes, I put it on the wrong way. I'm just saying. So that's nose hooked. You can throw this around logs. You can throw that around any grass. It's not going to get snagged in there except for the blade on it. This is a slobber knocker. If you didn't know, this is the way they got around the patent too. They put that right through the lead head instead of having it hooked onto the front of the head. I throw these a lot too. If I like snap off, I think you were there when I broke off 2 in a row.
yeah,
Happens to everybody.
it does.
Okay, so I opened a package, tied one on, threw it out. My line snapped. I opened another package, put it on, threw it out. My line snapped, and I found out I had a backlash.
Nice.
There went
Oh.
$40.
That's another thing. You didn't mention. You never mentioned. We talk about the bladed jigs. They vary Like the cheapest one, you're looking at like $5.
Yeah,
Most expensive one is
$5.99.
that jackhammer at 20 something. And it can be more. I've seen them as high as 23. And I've also seen jackhammers as cheap as 17, but that was on a Christmas sale.
Here, I think the highest I've seen jackhammers is at one of our best shops, and it's like $26 a piece.
Holy cow! And I'd buy it.
You guys are gonna
That's
kill
where
me.
I bought mine from.
I'd buy it.
Let me guess, Sam. Yours are $13.99 or something.
No, I went to an
No,
Ollie's.
Sam hasn't discovered them yet.
No,
Oh,
shut
probably.
up. I have to.
So,
but
your question?
Sorry, I went to an Ollie's when I was in Virginia a little bit ago, and they had jackhammers for $6.
You bought every single one of them, right?
All but one
There's
because
nothing
I
else?
didn't want to be that bad. That guy.
not
I was
my
like,
fault.
I'd have bought every single one of them, man. I would have bought every single one of them, and I would have sold them to Modog.
So were they chatterbaits or jackhammers?
jackhammers.
They were jackhammers for $6.
Yeah, it was $5.99.
What?
Yeah.
Mono look like he ready to slap you right now.
Can I reach through this? Is there a way to get my hand through there? Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, right,
there was
okay.
like
You
4
should've-
different colors too. So it was
I would have bought. There wouldn't have been any on sale because they would have been mine. I would have bought every one of them.
I mean, I bought all but one. I was like, you know,
You didn't want to. You didn't want to go that extra mile and
yeah.
hurt
And
somebody
13
else's
is a
feelings.
bad number, and I was flying. So
So you're saying you have a whole bunch of chatterbaits now?
I do. I was. I think the first podcast I was on with these guys, my backpack tackle box weighs, what was it, like 51 pounds?
26. Yeah, something stupid crazy.
Yeah. That's like a rucksack when I was in the military. I just
Exactly.
I know. I like put that thing on. I'm like, all right.
You have the stowaway fishing rod in there. You have all the tackle, 51 pounds, and you're on the ruck march. And they're like, "What do you got in there?" Well, I'm going fishing when you guys aren't looking.
When I had to do a ruck march, I always put, what was it, a 45-pound plate, and then just random things I found in my dorm or in the barracks. Yeah.
They're dorms.
It felt
Basically.
like
Might as well be.
with some mold in it.
So,
but
yeah.
All right, let's not get talking about military. I
Yeah.
can talk for days about military. You know, I'm ex-military as well. I'm a veteran, and
thank you for your service.
appreciate all of your service. So you guys did it as well. Don't thank me. Don't thank me. Thank you and everybody else that put it up. I'm just saying.
while we're off track, before you finish answering the question, what to do. Sorry.
While we're off track.
off the hook, welcome in. Let's see, Anthony Bishop said it was interesting. He didn't know that. He never noticed that on the paddle. So he's definitely have to try it out, flipping over. Tim Wheaton says he likes to fish flukes around logs and stumps.
I love flukes.
Sigo did nothing but complain some more about how he didn't catch fish with you.
Is that what he did? Wait, I didn't
No,
read it yet.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Random Fishy 26 says he likes popping it like a worm, works really well. He's talking about
Speaking of
techniques.
him,
Hey, what's up, buddy?
there is my son Hunter right there.
I'm
Look
too
at
tall
him.
for this.
Look at him. Everybody wanted to come and say, I told you we got ready for this because you're a big deal. Miss
Oh, I don't know
Modog
about that.
wanted to make a showing. He wanted to make a showing.
Really?
Like you're just a big. I shared you out like a million times. I'm just saying.
He did.
I appreciate that.
I went and had my hair did. You don't know. You don't know. It was rough. It was rough when they put that turtle wax on there and then they used that buffer. They didn't use like their hand. No, they got out the.
Yeah, the car buffer. That's awesome.
I give
All
you
right,
a lot of sound effects here today.
Yeah, you are. So the weedless style of hooking, and you're showing us how you did that. What was the point of this again? What were you trying to show people? Why you were showing people this?
Oh, the weedless version. Yeah. My bad. Huh. I did get distracted, and I'm ruining his show.
Nah.
So
Have
you can
seen
throw this
Turtle
out
Box
there, and if you look,
Shenanigans?
He's setting the bar for if I ever have another guest on. That's all it is.
you're like, please don't talk the whole time about everything else but what I asked you to do. Thank you. So that is not shown. You can throw this around anything. The only thing you can't throw it around and expect it not to get stuck in is definitely grass. But you can throw this around a log. You can throw it around a tree with limbs. And I'm telling you, I used to fish it this way all the time when I was in Virginia. because I would always fish in the river where there was a bunch of trees and stuff like that. So I would always fish the chatterbait around the edges. I mean, I would throw it all the way up on the bank and bring it in all these bushes and stuff. And I mean, you know, mangroves in Florida, I'd throw it up in mangroves in Florida. Everybody says, oh, saltwater? No. Brackish water has mangroves in it in Florida. If you didn't know that, mangroves are these things that grow, and they even have the moving ones that drive you absolutely crazy, because one day you'll be out at a place and you'll be fishing it and you'll be like, tomorrow there's going to be fish there. But if that wind comes out of a different direction, when you go back to that pond, that area is not even going to look the same anymore. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sure he does. But you can throw this around anything now. Once you have that nose hooked and you have it ran up there on the sideways, and I know it looks funny. It doesn't look like this. You know, this is an original. This is how you would put it on there. And this is without the hook showing. So it's definitely snag proof, not weedless.
Now, let me ask you a question. When you're doing that, what would you, if you had to guess, what is the percentage difference on hookups between the open hook and it rigged that way?
Well, a lot of the times, you know, it just depends, because when you're throwing a chatterbait, those fish are either coming up beside it and hitting it here. And then when you go to set that hook, they've already felt this part of the bait. They've already felt this part of the hook. And that distracts a fish and makes them jump away from it. If you hit them this way, you can get them to bite down and then pull, and hopefully that comes out of there. A lot of the hookup ratio, I've lost a lot of fish hooking it this way.
But you didn't lose to a tree.
But I didn't lose it to a tree. Exactly. Exactly.
I think I'd rather lose it to a tree than lose fish.
I realize that, but when they're $19 a piece,
yeah, right. Or in Sam's case, 6.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I was like, you know,
I can always go and catch another fish that I'm fishing for, but eventually Miss Modog's going to get tired of buying these for me. I'm just saying.
That's fair. I got you.
But I don't know what to tell you on the percentage of the bass that I get in. But I will tell you this, that when this is not showing, it's lower than if the bass is coming up beside it and hooking, because that bait that's already shown, and they're not going to let go because they don't feel that until it's already too late. And behind it, you already have them in the top lip. So I'm just saying there's goods, and then there's bads to having it both ways. This will get snagged up and break off, and this won't, but you'll lose fish.
I got you. So
try it out. I mean, if your hook's sharp, really, really sharp, like every time you throw it out and you hit something with it, sharpen your hook, and then you won't have to worry about that. Me, I never sharpen them, and you can always see me complaining about it. Well, I don't know why that didn't go through that fish's face, and it's because I didn't sharpen the hook.
Zach, you said
oh yeah, I do have a question.
Yes, what you got, Zach?
Do you always match up your trailers to the color of the skirt, or do you mix it?
Nope.
Dude, you stole my question.
You will never see me throw this orange bait with an orange trailer ever. You will never see me throw that. You will never see me throw this white with a white trailer. I will either have, because what I'm mimicking, if I'm throwing a trailer that has, say, I am trying to mimic a crawfish with this. This is for spring fishing right here. The color's red for craw because they molt this time of year. So they turn this color. And the tail on it, when it's swimming back to me, just makes it look like just a shiner going through the water, and then the flash just from this. But if I'm bouncing this off of stuff, then it's supposed to look like a craw. That's another thing I'll get into. And you probably already have a question about trailers and why I use what I use and why we would
maybe
other one on. It's on the list. Let me see. Yeah. But I would put a blue trailer on this, believe it or not, to make it mimic a sunfish, bluegill. I also have what are they? I don't ever know the color. The green one? Pumpkin? Green pumpkin.
Green pumpkin.
Pumpkin seed.
Green pumpkin. Yeah, pumpkin seed. But no, I never put a trailer on. Well, I can't say that. I can't, because that whole month of September I was throwing white on white. So
I think it's highly dependent for me anyway. Highly dependent.
Like the only reason I was throwing white on white is because I fished mostly at nighttime. And believe it or not, everybody says when you're fishing at night, throw black. No, don't throw black. Throw what's in the water. If there's shad in the water, they're going to still eat a white bait because it looks like a shad. I mean, if there's bluegill in the water, throw something that looks like a bluegill. Don't try to get the bass's attention. Like he said earlier, throw something different. If there's a bunch of bluegill, throw a shad. Well, why would they eat that shad when there's bluegill there? They're not. They're going to want to eat bluegill because that's what they're used to. A lot of people say, put your baits, throw your chatterbaits with something on it that make it look like a bluegill all the time. You want to make it look like what's in the water because that's what the fish are usually eating. Say there's 5 shad, whatever they're called. Shad. What's the other?
Yeah, shad, threadfin shad.
Yeah, those. I throw chatterbaits. I don't know the names. But you know, I'm not a college guy. I'm just a chatterbait thrower. But if there's 5 shad swimming by and then they see a bluegill, are they going to eat those shad that they're used to? Or are they going to go, oh my God, look at that. What is that thing right there? I'm going to eat that. No, they're just going to eat whatever they're used to, whatever goes by their face. So to answer your question, I apologize. I got off again. No, I don't. I don't match my skirt. I don't match my head. I don't match anything with the trailer. I just make it look like what's in the water at the time.
Just to clarify, what I said was in the spring you can get away with throwing randomly colored things. Just to clarify. Typically, I match the hatch. Just like you said.
I was just saying what you said earlier. I was just going off of what you want to match the hatch. But if you're in dirty water, say the water I was fishing when it looked like just plain mud.
Yeah, this is awful.
It really doesn't matter what you're throwing. If it's stained at all, like if you can't see past 3 foot in the water and you're throwing a chatterbait out there, it's definitely down past 3 foot in the water. So they're going to go off of the sound. If you're fishing in gin clear water, then you can try out with your oranges and your whites and your blues and blacks and try it out. If you're throwing blue and black and they're not hitting it and you have a white trailer on there, change it over to an orange trailer like I did over the other day. It's proven. I have a video coming out. You'll see it. I changed over to this jig. Wow.
Now that one.
Changed over to this right here, and I started throwing it around, and I had no bites. I went back to this. Ow. These hurt really bad. They're sharp. I went back to this. I don't have the actual one, but it looked just like this one. It was green pumpkin, and it had an orange trailer on it. And I don't have that here with me right now because it's on my pole in the truck. But I threw that out there, and instantly in the same spot that I just threw this orange one with this, just like this. This is how I had it rigged up. Same thing. Never caught a fish on that. I threw it like 8 times. I threw in the same exact spot with the green pumpkin one with the orange trailer on it and caught the 4-pound bass. That's in a video coming up. It's not even out yet. So
nice.
It's proven. It's proven. They want colors. They do like the orange and the reds this time of year. So
definitely something
to check out. That answered your question.
It did. I appreciate that. Let's see.
Well, it was his question.
Well, okay, sorry. Well, I'm sure it answered his question. Their question, since Zach definitely stole it. Seems like I'm going to ask him.
I just want Anthony to answer for me.
Yeah. You answered one of my other questions on my list. But here's another one. So, kind of back to conditions. Does water temperature change how you start your day with a chatterbait?
No.
Or do you just have so your cycle of talking about retrieves, that's just the same thing you just play on repeat all the time?
So say I'm out there, and Dale can attest to this. I was out there with him, and we were throwing around. It was 51-degree water temperatures, and I was throwing the chatterbait. Now, I wasn't throwing it out there and retrieving it really, really fast. I wasn't retrieving it and popping it every now and again. I was retrieving it super slow, and I was raising. They want it slow in different kinds of temperatures, but still they will hit the chatterbait. Like if it's 58 to 60 degrees, I will bring it up a little bit, and that's when I start popping it and start popping it. Now, if it's 61 and I know they're hitting top waters, I'm going to bring it really fast so that it's up more in the water. up more close to the top of the water. Listen, everybody. I mean, I'm getting off topic, but I can't talk more about these than what I already have on the video I put out and the retrieves that I have. This bait is so versatile. If you fish it fast, it's like what I was telling him. It's like a glide bait swimming across the very top of the water fast. You know how you can retrieve it fast and then you can stop it and it can sit there and then it can glide back and stuff like that. I'm just saying. This can stay under the water 2-3 inches. It depends on how, and fish will eat this when it goes by, because most fish are doing what when they're in the water? If they're on the bottom, they're doing what? They're looking up. They're looking up. This thing will pull fish out of 10, 12 foot of water, even if it's on the top of the water. It will pull them up because of the sound that it makes, just like your whopper plopper does. But this is under the water, and you can drop it, and you can do this and that to it. So water temperature, I mean, I bring it back slow when it's water temperature, and I give it a subtle pull and let it drop back down as I'm reeling. And then I bring it back up and let it drop back down as I'm reeling. But you also want to get it down deeper in the water for cold water, because you know they're out deep. Now for springtime, this time of year, shallow water, you want to keep it up off the bottom, and you want to pop. This is when you're going to be popping it. So the water temperature is what? 62, 63, 65 degrees. Yeah. Shallow water. We're talking shallow water is anywhere from 2 foot to 12 inches. You guys saw it. I caught a 714 in, I think my depth finder where it was sitting was 1.2. That's how a 7-pounder and 1.2 of water. I mean, I'm just on a chatterbait. That's a surprise. I didn't even know. That was crazy. That was a crazy catch. You got to go watch that. But
I know Kim from Jack's Bait and Tackle made a comment earlier that she's getting a lot of reports of people catching fish in inches of water right now.
That's crazy. Yeah, she said in like 3-4 inches of water. Yeah, and a lot of people will be like, "How are you going to catch a giant fish?" Well, because that's about as fat as some of them get, and you can catch some pretty good 3-4 pounders that are still, like this, and they spawn up in that area where there's shallow water. They spawn up in there. Everybody will be thinking, there's no way there's a bass in there. Listen, one of the biggest bass that was ever caught on Bass Masters was caught in 12 inches of water, and it weighed 9.5 pounds. And I'm telling you, it surprised him when he threw his little jig in there and brought it back. And he was like, man, there's not even any water in there. And it caught that 9 pound out of there. So, but I'm telling you, they're just water temperature. It just varies on like if you're going to throw a spinnerbait, you have to roll that slow, or any bait basically in the wintertime, you have to roll it slow because the bass want bait slow. Springtime, they want it hopping or moving around their beds, or like they're going to be irritated with it because it's where they don't want it. Does that make sense? Not that they're trying to eat it, but more that they want it away from where they are because it looks like something that's going to try to eat their eggs or whatever in there. Feeding up in the fall, you want to drop this right off of where it's shallow to deep. I don't know how to answer that question.
Yeah, that's good. But you really brought up my next question. How do you approach fishing with chatterbaits in deep water versus shallow water? In shallow water, you've already said you go a little bit faster, you pop it. What do you do specifically to fish in deeper water? I'm talking like 15 to 20 feet. I'm talking like you're really pushing the boundary.
So I let it drop down, and I don't let it drop down to the bottom. Like if I know that it's fall and they're feeding up to go sit into their spots in the deep for the winter so they can, how fish go out there and don't let anybody tell you that there's not fish in shallow water when it's cold outside. There's fish everywhere. It doesn't matter what it is. Most bass go deep or off ledges. Shallow where they can go up and feed, where it drops off. And now when somebody, like he just said, 15, 20 feet, I caught one of the biggest bass in the tournament I fished with WOKA. One of the biggest bass I caught in 20 foot of water. And that's because I threw it out. I let it drop. This was in September. So not cold water, but just deep water, 20 foot of water. It was 20 foot of water. There was grass on the bottom, about 5 foot up. And then it was, so I let it drop and I hit the top of that grass. And then I just brought it across the top of that grass. And you can feel it when you're using a chatterbait, just like you can with the crankbait. If you can feel if there's grass down there or not, or a jig, you can feel that it's there. But with the chatterbait, you can feel right when you're in the grass. Of course, it's going to get stuck. But if you're ticking the very top of that, and you know that you can roll it real slow in deep water, and then you can give it a little pop, that's when the fish will hit it in deep water. Now, if there's a ledge there that goes from 2 foot and you know that that's going to drop off onto an 8-foot ledge and that's your deep part, throw it right along that edge right there because they're going to be in that area. To answer your question, if there's no grass, I will put it on the bottom and pop it and let it drop and sit there and pop it and let it drop and sit there. Reeling, when you pop it up, you're reeling it and then drop. So that's how I fish it in 20 foot of water. I don't straight retrieve in 20 foot of water unless there's grass.
I mean, I would think it'd be really hard to do because the blade in your trailer is going to want to make it come up in the water column, right? So you'd have to throw a really, really, really heavy chatterbait in order to even attempt a steady retrieve.
So this is a 1/2 inch, or I'm sorry, this is a 3/8 ounce right here, 3/8. Okay. And then they have them in 1/2 ounce, which is this one. This is a Guggen Squad 1/2 ounce, or no, I'm sorry, not Guggen Squad, Slobber Knocker 1/2 ounce right here. And then I have a 5/8. They make them in 5/8 as well. They're hard to find. You have to get those off of, have to go in and like at Tackle Warehouse, you'll have to go in and say, click the little box that says 5/8. But you can find them that big on a chatterbait. And they drop pretty good. I throw the 3/8 out there, and yes, you're wasting a lot of time letting it drop down there because do any of you use live scope?
No, I ain't got that kind of money.
Sometimes for ice fishing, but
So I'm talking like see your bait and it drops like on the screen. You can see it. 3/8 and 1/2 ounce. They drop about the same. They drop about the same speed in the water. But the 5/8 drops a little faster, and of course it does. But you'd be surprised how fast these drop in the water. I mean, you'll be sitting there and you'll be like, "Oh, it's 20." Somebody told me one time you have to count 1, 2, 3, and then at 20, because it's 20 foot of water, it's on the bottom. No, it's probably down there at 10. Probably down there at 10. Plus cold water versus hot water. Hot water is going to be thinner than cold water because the molecules in it are together and it makes it. We're not getting into science and all that. I'm just saying.
We got a question from the crowd here.
Uh-oh.
Tim Wheaton said, "What are the good colors for jackhammers for different water clarity?"
So again, I throw a lot of baits that are black and blue. My favorite color to throw is black and blue chatterbait. Matter of fact, I can't even show you one that I have. I can't even show you a black and blue chatterbait because they're either all torn up or on my rod right now. So I don't have one in here. Look, even the ones that I have that aren't open are not black and blue. Here's an actual jackhammer, and it's white. This is waiting for September.
Hold on a second. I can help you out.
You got a black and blue one?
It's not a jackhammer, but
that's all right. It don't have to be, as long as the blades or the skirt's black and blue. So the reason that I say black and blue to answer your question is because black and blue, any time of the year, it doesn't matter where you fish unless you fish, just like that right there. So if you turn that sideways a little bit and then you throw one of these on, that's not that. A green pumpkin on the back of that black and blue right there, it looks just like a bluegill. Looks just like a bluegill. You can throw this bait right here, a crawdad on there. In any water. Now you're saying clarity of different water. There's no difference. So clear water, bluegill live in clear water, and shad live in clear water and stuff like that. So if you throw out this bait right here with the black and blue, I know I have this one rigged up, and there's a reason. You'll understand that here in just a second, because this is a sunfish, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's why that's hooked up like that, because there was nothing but sunfish in this place I was fishing this lure. And usually I wouldn't throw this. I was throwing this in a tournament that I was fishing over at American Horse Lake. And believe it or not, I only caught like 2 or 3 fish on this, and the rest of them were caught on swim bait. And I came in second. But but same color, made by Z-Man. Not that I'm sponsoring them or they're sponsoring me. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
If anybody out there is watching. But so on the back of that black and blue, I would throw this sideways, just like that. This is a crawdad. Crawdad. And if you throw it on there and you put it on there sideways, it looks like a bluegill or green sunfish or whatever they're called. I always get in trouble from all these biologists that say there's no such thing as a sun perch. Well, that's what I call them. Sun perch. You know what I'm saying? Sun perch, bluegill, something. You guys
You know what most people call them? Bait.
Brim? Bait. Bait. That's cute. I like that.
That's what I call them 90%
So if
of
I'm
the time.
saying bait. What do you say?
I call them bait 90% of the time.
But on that black and blue skirt, if you throw this out there sideways just like that, it's going to look just like a bait fish. Plus, it gives it a bigger presentation for murkier water. Not exactly chocolate milk. We all know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen that, go watch it because I don't even remember what I named it, but something stupid because it was fishing in mud. It was basically, I can't believe I was catching 4-pounders out of there. But
yeah, it was a cool video.
But to answer your question, water clarity, if it's clear, I'm throwing white. Definitely white in clear water. If it's got any kind of stain after gin clear, I'm always throwing black, blue, and that's just to give it a silhouette basically for the fish to see, along with here on a chatterbait.
And if you put that sideways, it gives it a bigger side profile.
It does give it, and if you look at this, I will do it. You know what? I love you.
I love you too, buddy.
And I will do it. I will do it. I wish I had my black one.
I thought he was going to make the noise again.
Profile.
Here, look. I will just ruin it right here on this bait. Okay. And if you don't know, this is another green pumpkin. Green pumpkin. I know I said that I like black and blue, but there's times when I have to throw this because, you know, this is a bluegill. Like in hot 104-degree weather, the only thing moving around in a pond or in a lake is a bluegill. That's the only thing moving around. So that's why we have the green pumpkin. And a lot of people will tell you stick with green pumpkin, black, blue, or white. And those are the only colors that you need. You don't really need the oranges. A lot of people say throw orange in murky water. If you're throwing a chatterbait, it doesn't matter what color it is in murky water because they're not going for the color of your bait. They're going for the sound that they feel going through the water.
See, I'm kind of with you on that. Black blue is my favorite color.
Black blue is your favorite color to throw on what?
With jigs, bladed
Yeah.
jigs.
Definitely. So I just love the black blue. I mean, because I throw it in a lot of dirty water. I fish a gin clear lake and I throw the black blue. You can ask Dale. That's what I usually throw over there when we're fishing Letra is black blue. But when I'm fishing at night,
White.
It's white. It's white trailer. White with a white what are they called? Paddle tail. Sorry. So here is this bait that I just
he loves fishing black and blue so much that it bled onto his shirt.
Yes. See this? I am sorry. If I'm boring anybody, I apologize. This is not my intention.
This is informative. That was the whole point.
Look at that. That looks like a bluegill. And if I had water, these would be sticking out behind it just like this. And the perfect bait to throw with this, believe it or not, is and I hate plugging baits because nobody sponsors. I have no sponsors, so I'm not plugging baits. I'm not telling you to go out and buy this or that, but the things that I like to throw is biospawn bugs. Do you know who makes biospawn bugs? They're the bugs. They look like a little triangle back here. There's no hole right there. You know, I don't have one here. But that looks just like, I'm telling you, go watch that video and I'll show you it. But it looks just like a bluegill coming through the water. And in the summertime, this is what I throw. This is exactly the bait that I throw in the summertime. June, July, this right here. Exactly. Not black, blue, green pumpkin with that trailer right there. Sideways.
All right. I have to ask, what made you decide to throw like the trailer on sideways or upside down? Was it
Well,
an accident or?
no, because I was throwing a bait kind of like this one right here, and I had the paddle tail on there. And when I was looking around, there wasn't any shad in there. And this was back when I didn't know the stuff I know now. And I was looking at these bluegill swimming around, and I was like, man, if I put this on sideways, and there, I think I have a video of it too, of when I figured it out on it. It was not even on a chatterbait, matter of fact. It was on a swim jig. I put a crawdad on a swim jig, and I was throwing this swim jig out there, and I was bringing it up. And the crawdad was regular type, you know, on the bottom, flat, pinchers down and stuff like that. So when I brought it up, it did this. And then I was like, man, I'm looking around all these rocks and stuff and throwing this swim jig around there. There's no crawdad in here. I don't even see any crawdad. The only thing I see swimming around is bluegill. I call them perch. I call all of them perch. Sunfish, bluegill, green, whatever they are, blah, 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 this and that. They're all perch to me, and I get yelled at. But I'm going to call them perch on here. Okay.
Works for me.
So that's when I turned that sideways. And the minute I turned that sideways and made it look like it had a big tail on the back of it, swimming back and forth, I had I caught 3 7s in a row on a swim jig.
Nice.
On a swim jig. And that was in January. So.
All right. 3 7s in January. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I'm in a red shirt. Go over and look at my video pictures, and you can go look at them. I'm in a red shirt. Doesn't say Mr. Modog on it, but they're on there. They're on my fish brain.
I got you. Let's see. We are starting to run a little bit out of time, but
hey, listen, I don't want to keep. I don't want to keep you I don't want to bore anybody with this, because especially those people out there that are like chatterbaits are horrible and this and that, and I never catch any fish on them. And
that was the whole point of this. I brought you up here so people could learn stuff to try to catch more on it. That's the whole point. I know that's your thing.
See, like I said, I've never caught a fish on a chatterbait. Now I'm willing to try it again to try to do it.
Yeah. So
let's see. Next question on the list says, can you share any specific success stories or memorable catches? You've done it the whole show, so I'm skipping that one.
Okay. so sorry. You should have told me you had a list. I would have gone off.
Good. No, it's fine. How do you adapt your chatterbait presentation when fishing pressured water? I know for most Chinese people would consider downsizing. Is that something you even consider?
No.
Okay.
Well, I can't say that. Yes. So we'll go off of this bait right here. And I just did this last year in September when I was fishing. So those fish were super pressured. That's why I was fishing at night, not during the day. And everybody got mad at me because I was fishing at night. Now, I even called the tournament director and I said, hey, listen, this is a month-long tournament. And it says that at the end, we're going to do all of this, where who has the more inches. Sorry. And I said, does it matter if we fish during the day? Is this like a 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. fish? And he said, no, it's whenever you want to go out and fish, whenever you can, because, there's working people out there and stuff like that that can't go out for a month long. I guess I took it too far because it was like a charity kind of thing that they were trying to make money for and this and that. But I went fishing every night. And because during the day, it was summertime or September, and a lot of people go out in September and fall, and that's when you catch your giant bass and this and that, especially over here where we fish on Letra, and it's a very popular lake. So I would cut my trailers down to where just this part of the tail would stick out underneath the skirt. So the presentation was small. Yeah. It would dive a lot faster. I could bring it up a lot faster. That's the only way I would downsize. Like these mini chatterbaits, I think it's called the Chatterbait Mini or the Jackhammer Mini, whatever it's called. I have never thrown one of those.
So you'd much rather throw a regular bait with a smaller trailer? Yes,
smaller trailer. Regular bait, smaller trailer. You can even take where did I put my crawdad at? Doesn't matter. You guys know what I'm talking about. So like this is one that I threw last year, dark blue like this right here. And I would throw this on the back of a white one too, trying to get a different bite out of it. But I would cut it probably all the way down to about there. Cut that off and put that on. and this is the bait that I would usually use, is this 4-inch bait right here on the back of a chatterbait. And then if the fish is pressured, I would cut it down. A lot of people say, what's that do? Well, fish are scared of the things that they see multiple times a day. But when you cut that down and all you see is that tail back there wiggling around and this skirt doing this little thingy right here, then fish are going to look at it and go, that doesn't look anything like anybody else has been out here getting their new tattoo or their new piercings with, you know? So,
yeah.
But that's the only thing I downsize when it comes to pressured fish. And I will still throw the chatterbait on pressured fish. And don't get me wrong, if they're not biting the chatterbait, I'm going to start throwing something else like a wacky rig. I will throw a wacky rig out there. Now, if I'm throwing the chatterbait and I'm getting hit on the side, like I said earlier, how they come up beside it and they knock it, and you can feel them knock it because it just goes limp like there's nothing there, and then it'll start rattling again. And you know that fish came up and they just hit it on the side. I will throw a wacky rig out there right after that in that same exact spot and probably catch that fish because he thinks that he killed it and that's it floating down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So again, I didn't mean to come on here and just talk, blah, 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 blah. I just love these things, man. I just love I can't explain why I love them so much except for what I've done right here. And if it makes me sound crazy that chatterbaits are blah, 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 then I guess I'm just crazy.
You're just crazy. I got you. Let's see. What is your, okay. So obviously you're absolutely in love with the chatterbait.
I am.
100%. It's been very obvious. It was like hour 20 minutes.
Look bad against. Just kidding.
Is your personal best on a chatterbait?
What is my personal best on a chatterbait?
Yes.
Which is sad, and nobody believes it. The only thing that I have is a picture. So I mean, you have to believe it, but anybody can say what the weight is. But
it's photoshopped.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that a bunch of times, but it's on my intro. It's the very last fish when it says monster on there. That is a 9.2. 9.2 is my biggest fish on a chatterbait.
Now, is that your biggest fish, period?
Biggest fish, period.
Biggest. So your PB is on your favorite bait. That's pretty cool.
Yep,
that is pretty cool.
My PB is on my it was actually on a black and blue chatterbait with a. Now this is the only time I've ever done this, but it was with a red craw on the back of it.
Huh.
And the only reason it was on there was because I didn't have any others of the bait that I liked to throw because I caught like, I don't know, 15 or 16 fish that day and they tore up all of my baits. So the only thing I had left was a craw that was red and it was made by Ted. I think it came from Ted.
Now, who's Ted?
Off the Hook Outdoors.
Okay, got you.
I think it was one of his. If he didn't send it to me, then it was one of the other guys that he put me in touch with, maybe because he didn't do craw. I can't remember who it was. I can't remember. I thought it was Ted. I might be wrong because I don't think Ted makes the crawdads. So it was probably somebody else. But that was what it was.
Now, if you were teaching somebody brand new chatterbaits, we're not bringing Siggo back into this. He can stay out of this. If you're bringing somebody entirely brand new that never heard of a chatterbait before, what color would you put them on? What retriever would you tell them to start?
Black, blue, black blade with a orange or white trailer. I can't just imagine this as a black and blue, okay? Because I don't have one here. I don't have one. But that trailer right there, that trailer on the back of a black blue with a black blade. And I would tell them to, if they're just beginning with it, throw it out there. Reel it in. Throw it out there, reel it in, throw it out there, reel it in, throw it out there, reel it in. If you don't catch anything, throw it out there, reel it in, but pop it. Let it drop a little bit. I'm telling, this is exactly what I would tell them. Throw it out there, reel it in, pop it. Reel it in, pop it. Reel it in, pop it, reel it in. This is the exact cadence. So not that I'm trying to just, but that's what I would tell somebody that's just trying to throw a chatterbait. Now, if it's a original chatterbait, throw it out there and pop it to get it going.
Right.
and then do the whole thing, reel it in, and then throw it out, reel it in. If you're not catching anything on it, don't just, go all over. Don't just throw it in that one area, because, most people will go and throw multiple baits in an area, and then they're just confusing the fish. Don't throw 18 baits in this one tree, thinking that fish is going to be like, oh, look, there's like a smorgasbord today. There's all these things coming at me. Oh. Leave that spot, come back to it, throw a different kind, throw a different style, just throw a different retrieve. But if somebody is new, Dale, I got to leave you out of it. I wasn't saying your name. I had to swallow. Right when I said your name, I had to swallow. You know how you got to take a breath, kind of like that.
Yeah,
so I wasn't calling you out or anything like that. I was just had to swallow. So if I was showing somebody new or having somebody new go out and throw them, Dale, stop. I would tell them to throw black blade with a minnow style paddle tail that looks like that right there. And the retrieve would be throw it out, reel it in. If you don't catch anything in the first 3 or 4, pop it, reel it, pop it. These are the easiest baits to use, people. They're the easiest ones to throw out. They're the easiest ones to reel in. You don't have to do anything with them. You can change everything up on them. You can put different trailers on them. You can, I love them.
With that
I'm glad
being
that
said,
didn't hook me in the lip. That would have been horrible. That would have been great for your live.
that'd have been short. There we go. Yeah. Sam and Zach, do you guys have any more questions for Modog here?
I have one. What kind of like reel pole system do you run? Like medium heavy, medium fast, or?
You must have missed it because of the dog earlier.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My dog was.
So I would throw it. Like matter of fact, this one that's sitting here was actually bought to replace one that I broke. This is what I would. This is what I throw a chatterbait on, right here. It is a medium heavy. Right here, medium heavy power, fast action. So you want that tip to be real fast, like it will bend real fast, but you want that strength in here.
Yeah.
But you don't want that heavy strength all the way up the rod. You want to give it a little bend, but not in this area on a chatterbait.
Okay. I'm sorry for the repeat.
No, that's
you're
fine.
good, man.
And the real anything 6'4" to 7. I said 7'1" earlier, but 7'2". You want to be able to fish these lures slow. Like the real, like if you're fishing it like this, it's still going slow because that retrieves 27 inches of line on a 6'4" or something like that.
Yeah.
But you want to be able to speed it up if you can. Does that make sense? But reeling it like somebody would really reel it, like if you're just throwing it out there, that's a slow speed for a 6'4". So, but that's what I throw it on. This reel right here, now that I just said that, is a 7-1-1. That's what this whole setup would be what I would throw a chatterbait on. This reel is a 7-1-1, and the rod is a medium heavy fast action.
All right, so
it is a lose, by the way.
My favorite brand.
This is Modog. Appreciate it coming here to talk about chatterbaits tonight.
Sorry if I bored anybody. Have a good evening.
You're good. No, if you got anything else, is there anything going on with your channel you want to let everybody here know about while you're up here?
Man, we're just trying to grow, and I appreciate you guys. The things I try to do is help everybody out, and my channel is all about helping others. So whether I grow or not, like I don't know if I helped Anthony out when he was asking me questions, going out fishing, doing all of this, coming to my thing, letting me play his videos. That's what we do over on my channel is I will go in and talk for 5 hours because this thing never shuts up. And then after that, I will try to speed through and play 14 people's videos on my channel. And all I want is other people to grow. If I grow, I grow. But my happiness, our channel was made to help other people. That's the whole thing about my channel. When it's called Fishing with Modog for a reason. I'm not out there trying to. Yes, I have a lot of knowledge. But when you come to my channel and you watch my videos, you'll understand. I want you to feel like you're the one in the kayak. You're the one casting. You're the one reeling it in. That's what I like about my channel is you're out there actually fishing with me. You're the one doing all that. That's how I wanted it to get across. And then I started all of this live. And my lives are all about helping Anthony. I'll just say playing his videos and getting other people to notice him, not me. I play his videos so that I will get people to go to his channel and bring him people and let him have all the glory of it from coming over to my channel and going, oh man, he's playing this guy's channel. I want to know about that guy. So then they go over there, and that's all we want. I don't look this. I don't know how more to explain it. Everybody's like, you're crazy, dude. You should have like 4,000 subscribers or this and that. You should have this and that. And I'm like, no, I shouldn't. The people that come over here and I help out, they're the ones that should have it. That's what makes me happy. My channel, come over and join us. What in it? Do you know, Anthony, when my lives are?
Thursday night.
Thursday night at 6:30. 6:30 is live. 6 o'clock is early birds. I usually play a video of mine because why? Because I don't play my stuff while my live's going. I play everybody else's. So I started this early bird special where I play one of my videos for 30 minutes, and then the rest is about everybody else in the whole wide world.
And then let's see how long it goes. It depends. Some days it's 9:45-ish. Some days it's 1 a.m.
Listen, I've only had 1 a.m. like a couple of times.
Well, one of those was when I was on. I remember that.
And
I was
you were
working
the
third
last
shift.
one. No, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's all good. I do remember it though.
Yeah.
Well, again, sir, I appreciate you coming up here and talking with us about Chatterbait's your favorite bait. Appreciate you talking about the channel some. Everybody in chat, if you guys have any more questions for him, now's your chance to ask. For those of you who are here tonight, some of you may have noticed the pinned comment on the Yak Shore channel. We are moving the podcast to its own channel. We're moving its own Facebook page, its own everything. Simply because there was some debate with me, myself anyway, but also some other people that chimed in that said that they agreed. We didn't want to muddle the podcast with fishing videos. We also didn't want to do vice versa. It's completely separate. If you want to come to watch the podcast and learn stuff, that's what this channel is going to be about. Whereas the other one's specifically going to be about our fishing adventures. And that's probably going to be the format for now on. So if you guys are enjoying this, please consider going over to the new channel and subscribing to it. For about the next month, I'll be doing the streaming on both channels just to give everybody a chance to see the notifications and get moved over and everything. But that is the plan. The podcast will be purely on the Bait Take YouTube channel and all the other socials that go with that. Whereas the Yak Shore one's going to be just all the fishing stuff. So, again, Tim, appreciate it. Zach, Sam, appreciate you guys as always. Sigo, I am sorry for all the harassment you got this evening. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys. It's been great. Springtime bass fishing, chatterbait fishing specifically, Modog giving us all his pro tips and all that good stuff. I appreciate it and the perspective. Thank you to each and every one of you, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks. That's one other thing, I guess. While this has been moving over, all of the old shows are getting put in the in-between weeks until it gets caught up. But the next live show is going to be in 2 weeks. We'll be talking about white bass and striped bass fishing, specifically in spring and early summer. But we'll have another special guest talking about spinnerbaits. So it'll be good. Yes.
Oh no.
This could very much be a backlash for today's episode, and it could be very entertaining. So you guys are not going to want to miss it. So until next time, guys, I'm Anthony. This is Sam and Zach and Modog. We're all signing out. We'll see y'all next time on the Bait Tank.
Thanks for letting me come up, man.
Yeah, thanks for swinging by, and we'll see y'all next time.